Borderlands has many memorable characters. Handsome Jack, Roland, Tiny Tina, Reese, Fiona, Maya, Mad Moxie, but none are more beloved. Okay, outside of Handsome Jack. None are more beloved than Krieg, the resident psycho of the Crimson Raiders.
War for the little flies who fester in the grime!
We all know the Psycho Krieg. We all know him, and we all love him. For being an absolute psycho, he's pretty great. But while he might be popular, while he might be loved and fun to play as in Borderlands 2, out of every character in Borderlands, I would argue that Krieg is also the most complicated. Because while he might be this fun, psychotic warlord who wants blood and a certain siren on the surface, deep down, when you actually analyze who Krieg himself is broken, lonely, and falling apart. And this complex development is what we are going to discuss. So today, we shall give a brief psychological profile of Krieg so you can understand just how sad everyone's favorite Vault Hunter truly is. But before we can do that, I believe we need to know who Krieg is. And most of that information is garnered from Borderlands 3. From his echo logs that we can find in Conrad's hold, Krieg was once a mercenary, a professional hitman of sorts, usually for the corporations of the Six Galaxies, or whoever held the most money.
I kinda miss the thrill of the hunt. We used to hunt down those fugitives and mercs for the highest bidder, stalking and sneaking and tracking. We were a highly trained predator. Yowling madness at the midday moon!
And we also discover in Krieg's very own DLC, The Fantastic Fustercluck, that he also had a wife and child. So he was living it up. He had money, he had power, and those to share it with. But all of that changed when Krieg's escapades took him to a Hyperion facility. It's unknown why he was there, but it's likely that he was doing a job for a rival corporation because he wasn't supposed to be there and he was caught.
Hyperion, that's right. I was there to do a job at the lab, but they caught me, took me away from a balanced breakfast trough.
He was captured by Hyperion, who then performed experiments on the man. Experiments that led to Krieg developing his signature split personalities. These two personalities were practically polar opposites. One was Krieg's manifestation of strength and competitiveness, the things that made him a good hitman. It loved blood, it loved carnage, it loved loot, while his other half was the voice of reason and his more humane side. Basically, one side did the killing, and the other side did the morals. And it was this split in personality that became a boon to Krieg, because it was due to Krieg's divulgence of his more crazier side that he was able to murder his way out from the fingertips of Hyperion, thwart whatever schemes they had planned, and escape. But where there is a boon, there is a burden. For while Krieg managed to escape the clutches of Hyperion, what he had become to do so, he was a monster. Krieg was a savage, a psycho incapable of feeling for naught but murder and rage. And none thought this more than Krieg himself. For in The Fantastic Fustercluck, we can truly see how the man, the sane part of his psyche, really felt about himself. To Krieg, Krieg was a danger, a pest, a nuisance that didn't deserve friendship, relationships, to be treated as human, let alone a living being.
Wouldn't stick around if I were you. Nobody else does. Can't really blame him. I wouldn't want to be around me either. You should go.
And this philosophy of his, it dug so deep into the core of his being that he started to believe that his closest friends and allies actually hated him, that they saw Krieg as nothing more than an animal.
So you're still alive? I was hoping you'd be rotting by now, but you even screwed that up.
Who comes to spit thorns?
Never send an animal to do a human's work.
When in reality, that was the furthest thing from the truth.
Oh, Krieg, there
you are. Come on, we're headed to Moxie's. Next round's on me.
Yeah! You ain't gonna wanna miss this. Me and Mr. Torg are gonna arm wrestle. Last time, we broke the tape.
I got 20 on brick. You want some of that action, buddy?
I wanted to say thank you, to let them know they'd made me feel at home, and I'd never be able to repay them for that. But what I said was...
Straight through the anus!
Hell yeah! I love this guy!
Yeah, classic Krieg.
Hope we see you there, Krieg.
So Krieg, for the longest time, closed himself off to everyone, becoming a burden to none but himself. That burden was two personalities sharing one body, each competing for control. One hates the other, and the other was weighed down by the emotional trauma of the first. And if Krieg had stayed this way, if he had stayed by himself, his very being would have ripped him apart. But that was not going to happen. Because there was one thing, one person that kept Krieg whole, that kept his personalities from consuming each other. Her name was Maya, one of the 7 sirens who Krieg grew attached to because both of his personalities found her desirable. The sane side of Krieg found her attractive. The psycho Krieg found her attractive. 2 minds became one over one woman. And we can actually see this for ourselves in the Fantastic Fustercluck, because the memories he has of Maya are some of the most clearest and most comprehensive things we can explore and witness.
Everything else might be rack shit crazy around here, but at least he didn't change her. She looks just like when I saw her last.
Hey, big guy. Been a while. Come say hello.
Maya. I know she's gone, but she seems so real. Just like I remember her. Perfect.
But even still, because of how Krieg is, he never believed he had a chance. After all, he was broken, and she was perfect. But it was also her that gave him some resemblance of clear and concise thought, speech, and sanity. In essence, he needed her. She was Krieg's ticket to happiness, to a better life, to a unified mind. And so, following the death of Handsome Jack, Krieg dedicated himself to becoming a better person, a more sane man, all for her.
Okay, let's practice. Just say, I've missed you so much. I've missed the helmsman with my parade harpoon! So close, so close. Let's try it again. I've missed you so much. I got a spin axe with your blood on it! Less close. Maybe we can try another one. How about, don't be afraid, I won't hurt you. Don't be a walking skin suit or I'll rip the hoses off your chest! Don't be afraid, I won't hurt you. Don't be afraid, or I'll hurt you! I'd call that progress.
But then Maya died. Krieg's personas were once again alone together, and it broke his heart. The emotions wrought in the wake of Maya's death drove Krieg's personalities further from one another than ever before. That is why, sometime later, the third group of Vault Hunters we are able to play as were able to go into the mind of Krieg and save himself from himself, while looking for loot, of course, but in the process of said loot looking, the Vault Hunters of Borderlands 3 managed to quell the mental violence that once plagued Krieg and allowed for the man to truly accept who he was. One man with 2 minds, both beneficial to each other, forever locked together and unified by what could have been.
We all lose things. Our pasts, our friends, our minds. But we keep going. Keep fixing ourselves when we break. We may never be perfect.
That's enough for now. Come on in. Tell me about your day.
But we can get close enough. 'Cause 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 '
If you have any questions or comments about this video, Borderlands, or its lore, you can leave them in the comment section down below, and I'll be sure to read each and every one of them. Thanks for watching, and remember, well,